Guys, today I will be sharing how to make Ube Custard Bun Paradise Cloud. For the ingredients, we need 100 ml of cream. You can use all-purpose cream. This is 3 egg yolks, 2.5 tablespoon of cornflour or cornstarch, 260 ml of milk, 4 tablespoons of sugar. To begin, combine the milk, the cream, three egg yolks, sugar, and the 2.5 tablespoon of corn flour or cornstarch. We're going to mix this well, and then we're going to move to a stove with a heat setting medium to low heat. So it is important to continuously stir this so the egg yolk doesn't curdle. Once it starts getting thick, use the whisk. And at this point, this is now ready. We can take this out of the heat. Now to make this ube flavor, we're going to add 1.5 teaspoon of ube extract. Mix well. And then we're going to transfer this into a heatproof bowl. Cover this with cling wrap. Make sure that the cling wrap is touching the surface of the custard so it doesn't form a skin. Now this is 1 packet of yeast, which is 7 to 8 grams. 2/3 cup of milk, 60 grams of melted butter, 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3.5 cups of bread flour, and 2/3 cup of warm milk. Add 1 tablespoon of sugar into the warm water. Give it a mix. To this, we're going to add 1 packet of yeast, which is 7 to 8 grams. Make sure that your water is warm, not too hot, or else it will kill your yeast. Let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes until the yeast is bubbly, just like this. Now we're ready to make the bread. I'm using a stand mixer, but if you don't have a stand mixer, you can use your hands to knead the dough. So combine the milk, the melted butter, the yeast mixture, add the sugar as well, combine the bread flour and the salt, give it a mix, and then add the flour into the yeast mixture. Add half of the bread flour and then start medium speed. Once the flour is absorbed by the liquid ingredients, you can add the rest of the flour. Once the flour is all in, continue kneading this for 7 to 10 minutes or until the dough is smooth and elastic. Just like this. I knead this for about 8 minutes. Now I have a bowl with a little bit of oil on it. Form the dough into a ball and then roll this into the oil. Cover the dough with cling wrap and let it rest in a warm spot for at least 1 hour or until it doubles in size. So after about an hour, the dough has doubled in size. I'm going to divide this into small pieces, about 50 grams each. So I've cut the dough 50 grams each. Now I'm going to spread ube halaya. This is my ube halaya. This is optional and you don't need this much. You only need about a quarter of this. I'm gonna put the link in the description box on how to make this just to save time in this video. So you only need about a smear of the ube halaya. Smear it in the center of the dough. Make sure that the middle of your dough is thick so the ube don't pierce through, and then enclose the dough and then rub it against your work surface to form a ball. One more time. Put a small amount of ube halaya in the center and then enclose this. Rub your dough against your work surface to form a ball. If you don't want to put ube in the center, you can skip this step out. Once you finish with all the dough, cover the dough with cling wrap and let it rest in a warm spot for 20 minutes. While the dough is resting, prepare the custard. Transfer this into a piping bag, or if you don't have a piping bag, you can just spoon this later. So after 20 minutes, we're ready to shape the dough. So grab one dough, then press it into a thin disc. Make sure that you press this well. Then transfer this into a baking pan lined with parchment paper. So press it well into a flat disc. So this is what they look like. Now we're going to put indentation in the middle of the bread. I'm using a glass that I covered with cling wrap, and then I dip this in the flour so it doesn't stick to the dough. So after you make the indentation in the center of the dough, we're going to put the ube custard in the center. And then just before letting this rest for another 20 minutes, I'd like to brush milk on the side of the bread and then cover this with cling wrap and let this rest in a warm spot for another 20 minutes. While the dough is resting, it is wise to preheat the oven now at 180 degrees Celsius. So after 20 minutes, brush this again with milk, just the side, and then bake this in a preheated oven for about 14 to 15 minutes or until the side of the bread is golden brown, just like this. Let this rest and cool down completely before moving to the next step. This is what they look like after baking. For the icing, we need 3/4 cup of icing sugar and 1.5 tablespoon of milk. By the way, with the milk, I'm using fresh milk. So combine the fresh milk and the sugar together and mix until you have an icing just like this. Once the bread has fully cooled down, brush the side of the bread with the icing that we just made. And then we're just going to dip the side of the bread into desiccated coconut. This is optional, but it makes a huge difference when you do this. Ube and coconut works well together. So brush the side with the icing. And then cover the icing with the desiccated coconut. this is the finished product. This is so good. I can guarantee that you're going to love this. And just to show you what it looks like inside when you cut the bread in the middle, you can see some ube on the side of the bread and the ube custard in the center. The bread is so light and it's so soft. So I hope you give this a try and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!